Today is Saturday, the 23rd of March 2024. It's now 25 past 3. And welcome to another episode of D&J Drives. Today, starting from Rihanna Drive, as you can see, we're starting by an establishment known as Rihanna Drive Community and Tourist Shop and Eatery. It's the GT Connection. A nice place to have a drink and lime. From Rihanna Drive. This is a very well-known road in Barbados because it's named for Rihanna of international acclaim. This is her childhood home on our right. I'm just turning the car a bit so you can see it. This is where Rihanna played as a child, and this is her community, Rihanna Drive. The start of our tour of the city of Bridgetown. So we make our way from Rihanna Drive onto the Mighty Griner Highway, facing the Barbados, the Bridgetown port. This is the end of the Mighty Griner Highway. Left onto the Mighty Griner Highway and facing the Kensington Oval. Place that should be very, very familiar to most Caribbean nationals, and if not, it will be even more famous in a few months when the World Cup finals take place here. So we make our way on to Fontebelle. Hearing some music. I hope it didn't come across because we don't want any copyright issues with YouTube. So this is Fontebelle in St. Michael, Barbados, and we just chose this area to start the tour because it's a well-known area. Here you see on the right the Nation Publishing newspaper, part of the OCM group, and the Advocate right here. So the two main newspapers in Barbados, the Nation and the Advocate, located in Fontebelle, which used to be, I understand, an upper middle class area, and it's now largely commercial, and it leads from Fontebelle onto Cheapside. See, the bus stop says bus stop to city. We're about to enter the city, and we are currently in Cheapside, where you can see many vendors. There's a Cheapside market. This is the bus terminal here on the right, and ahead of us is the General Post Office. You can see a mural. It's of a stamp, a Barbados stamp. And if you notice, all along the right and the left, you'll see vendors selling their produce. It's a very busy area on a Saturday. well, every day, but on Saturdays people tend to come to get their vegetables from this spot right here. This is the St. Mary's Church on the left, Anglican Church. And we enter the city. This is City Center Mall with its multi-level car parking facilities. And we make our way into the city. Now on our right is the City of Bridgetown Credit Union. And ahead of us, if you look in between those two buildings, you can see the side of the Central Bank building. That's the tallest building in Barbados. Vendors here selling their flowers and so on. Right ahead of us is the Mutual building. I believe it used to be the headquarters for the Barbados Mutual, but it's now known as the Mutual building and recently renamed the Dorridge Miller Economic Justice building. So we're coming along Broad Street, and I must confess I don't know the difference between Upper and Lower Broad Street, but Barbadians have a way of referring to it as just that. Meet me at Upper or Lower Broad Street, and I never know which end is which, but needless to say, this is Broad Street. You can see banks on the left and the right, major shopping facilities. This is Bridgetown's main street that leads off onto other streets, of which we shall traverse today. So it's going to be a fairly repetitive journey at points, because we will pass on some of these streets on multiple occasions. This is for any Barbadians living overseas, you should remember the Nelson statue. Well, it was finally removed and replaced by this monument to the national heroes of Barbados, and this is called National Heroes Square, right by the Parliament of Barbados. This is the Treasury building on our right. And right ahead of us, you will see traffic coming from St. Michael Road. We will be going along that road and coming back to this junction a bit later on. So pay attention to this junction here, because where you can see pedestrians crossing, that's the end of St. Michael Road, and that's Spry Street over there. We're going to get through to Spry Street and drive by the St. Michael Cathedral, but we can't see it because of the road being blocked off, but we'll let you know when we're there. So we are making our way around the Treasury building. That's one of the bridges ahead of us there. But we're just going around to give you a full picture. That's the careenage on the left, and the swing bridge. It swings to allow vessels to pass, and we see the monument there to the national heroes. And we go all along this road, which is called the Wharf Road. So the catamarans park here, and the tourists, the passengers, both local and tourists, join them from here, and they go all along the west coast. You can see these passengers just came off one of them. Turn right again, but if we went straight it would take us back up to Princess Alice Highway. Here's the Mutual Building again, St. George Street, or as this building is now called, the Dorridge Miller Economic Justice Building. City of Bridgetown Credit Union ahead of us, and we're back on Broad Street. This taxi stand has always been here, and you can see that big clock. Those are the things that distinguish Bridgetown. Famous Woolworth on the right. That's where everyone goes to do their shopping for school. And right ahead of us we see the famous Swan Street. So we just turned on to Prince William Henry Street, and we are making our way across to Swan Street. Swan Street is a very, very popular area for shopping. You can get anything down here, from school supplies to kitchen supplies to anything. From this angle you can't see, but it's not for vehicles, it's purely pedestrian use, and one can enjoy a Saturday morning there with all the hustle and bustle. So this is the Central Police Station on our left. And to the right is the Jewish Community Car Park. The old library on the left, and an extension of the Supreme Court. So the first place of interest we will go is to the Supreme Court as we make our way along White Park Road. There's White Park House ahead of us. You can see the illustrious Supreme Court building. Very tastefully appointed inside. Well maintained, as you can see there's maintenance going on there. This being a Saturday, the car park is empty. place of interest. So we will continue along White Park Road now. Make our way along the Supreme Court. That's Chapman Street. Very well known area. Remember, we got here from Broad Street. So we're gonna turn off here and reconnect via Country Road. So we're about to turn right onto Country Road. So you can see there are housing developments here to our left, or to use modern day Pala's housing solutions. That's what we would say nowadays. I think when I was a child we would just say plannings. So we make our way along Country Road. This is the National Housing Corporation on our right. This takes us on to Robuck Street. Robuck Street connects everything to everything. So for example, this road here, this is the Barbados Labour Party's headquarters on the left and the entrance to Harrison College. But I was saying this Robuck Street connects so many areas that we're going to end up using it a few times before we move on to the rest of Bridgetown. So we turn right here onto Pinfold Street from Robuck Street to make our way right back to where the you can actually see the Supreme Court, the back of it. We just turned there. This is the YMCA building. So you can see the back of the Supreme Court. We come along Pinfold Street. That's Walron Street ahead of us. Earlier I mentioned the expansion of the Supreme Court. This building ahead of us here is the expansion. It's called the Henry Ford and David Simmons Legal and Judicial Complex. There are 3 courts in here. 3 courts meet in here, making it a total of 8 courts in the Supreme Court system. That's the old Treasury building, the old library, sorry. And this, so you can see the Supreme Court building down there. So if you were to look at the whole system, you see the Supreme Court main building, and then this expansion here, which is right next to the Central Police Station. So we just did that round for you to get a clearer idea of it. That's the connection. So we will now go along Synagogue Lane firstly, just to show you the connection. This is the cemetery on the right. The Jewish community, they have their synagogue there, and as you can see the sign, Synagogue Lane. It's very narrow. So we've just left Synagogue Lane and we are on James Street. This is the car park on the right that I mentioned, and on the left. James Street goes right across where you just saw that car turn down, is driving away from us. And again, we pass the Central Police Station. And for a third time, we turn here just by the old library. Lane, I think this is called. It's a nice car park on the left here if you want to have a central location to shop on Robuck Street as well as Swan Street and Broad Street. The Barbados Police Headquarters. This is their building here. This is where the Chief of Police operates from. And we are now on Robuck Street again. So I was telling you that it connects everything to everything. It's sort of a very well used road, but not as popular as Broad Street. You can see the snow cone vendors and so on plying their trade. We are right next to the Tom Adams Financial Center, aka the Central Bank. So earlier we drove down Robuck Street and we turned onto Pinfold Street, which is to our left here where this vehicle is turning. We did that. Now we make a right onto Crumpton Street. And Crumpton Street provides another entrance to the famous Harrison College, which is right ahead of us. This is the entrance here. And this road was recently resurfaced in keeping with the massive road rehabilitation project. Alright, so we now we leave Crumpton Street and we are on to St. Michael Row, which follows Constitution Road. Just gonna make a turn here for you to get a sense of how the Central Bank building or the Tom Adams Financial Center fits into the whole picture of Bridgetown. then the Frank Cullimore Hall is the auditorium of the Central Bank building. They're known for many concerts. It has a lovely concert hall and grand piano, lovely facilities, Christmas shows and international performances and ballets and recitals. They all take place in there. Back on to Robuck Street. And again, turning right onto Crumpton Street. College. This is the famous Queen's Park to our left. We shall see that a bit later on. Again, we turn right onto St. Michael Row. Just giving way to the pedestrians there. Ahead of us by this big tree is the St. Michael's Cathedral, and you really can't get a good view from here, but this is the pedestrian entrance. And every one of Barbados's 11 parishes, every parish has a parish church, and this being St. Michael, located in the city of Bridgetown, is known as the St. Michael's Cathedral. So it's the main church of the Anglican churches. We turning on to Spry Street, and you can see all of the vendors and shoppers living peacefully together. Supermarkets, and we're driving all along the wall of St. Michael's Cathedral. This pink building ahead of us is the old Masonic Center, Freemasons Temple, which is now a museum of the Central Bank of Barbados. This is Spry Street, and here we see the Tom Adams Financial Center, the back of it. This is the tallest building in Barbados for now. I'm not sure how tall the Hyatt will end up being, but there's supposed to be soon from now the construction of a Hyatt hotel on the other side, which we will get to eventually. So again, we're back on Robuck Street. We're going to turn right one more time onto Crumpton Street. St. Michael Row once again, and give way to the pedestrians again. This being a Saturday, you can see all of the shoppers getting their various items. So earlier I asked you to pay attention to the junction just by the Treasury building. That traffic right ahead of you is the other end of that junction. So we're gonna pass here one more time after this. This is Sprite Street on the right. We just turned down Sprite Street. And this is the junction I mentioned to you earlier. And we're gonna turn right on this occasion onto Marhill Street to give you another angle for Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon shopping. Now the back entrance of the Parliament is behind here. I hope the sound of that music isn't coming through so that we don't have any copyright issues. This is the back of the Parliament of Barbados. This is where the supporters of the various parties gather when there's a budget or the opening of Parliament. Everybody drinking and liming, selling their various items. And here is the other angle of the Barbados Police Headquarters. And actually, if you can see here, COP, this is the car park spot of the Chief of Police. We're back for the umpteenth time on Robuck Street, so I think you could understand why I said earlier that it connects everything to everything. On either side is major commercial activity. To the right, the Central Bank, and then Broad Street, and then to the left, White Park Road with the Supreme Court and the Central Police Station, shopping, parking. This is the heart of Bridgetown, the heart of the city, and home to the parish of St. Michael, one of 11 parishes in Barbados. So this is a bit repetitive, but it's designed this way to give you a clear understanding of the road network in Bridgetown. Once again, Harrison College to the left, Queen's Park to the left, and St. Michael Road to the right, Constitution Road to the left. So that right turn takes you into the Central Bank building. Here is the St. Michael Cathedral on the right, pedestrian entrance There's a very well-known cemetery as well attached to it, Spry Street. The late Prime Minister Tom Adams is buried there, as well as many other prominent Barbadians, finished with headstones and everything. It's actually a tourist attraction. So this right turn here takes you to Marhill Street, which we just did, and then this is the junction I asked you to look at earlier. We came up from that side. You can see the monument there to the National Heroes, the end of National Heroes Square. So where this white car is coming out, we were there when I drew this area to your attention. As you can see, the Treasury building is all boarded up. The building isn't in use anymore, and there are plans, I understand, to provide another housing solution, as they put it. So we make our way once more around the Treasury building, the Carinage, or in Trinidad that word would be pronounced Carinage. And we can see the other side. There are two roads here. This road here taking you through to the back of CIBC. This is where the immigration department used to be. This is where you can come to get your car washed. All of these men here, they are car washers. This is the side of Scotiabank, but here you see the very, very well-known Muster's restaurant, known for its fish cakes and its lovely Bajan meals. We turn right here. This is the only place you can turn right on Broad Street. This is to give you a clear view of that mutual building now known as the Doddridge Miller Economic Justice Building. Doddridge Miller. Some people say Dowridge. There you have it. And we see a bus there. We come back across to Broad Street. That's Prince William Henry Street that we turned down a short while ago. We're now back on to Broad Street. Norman Center on the left. And years ago, this is where you would see the statue of Lord Nelson turning by the Parliament of Barbados, the third oldest parliament in the world. We just turn here to give you another angle behind the Parliament. This is the entrance. This is where the supporters stand to shout and wave at them. We're fortunate that the gate is open, so we're gonna drive right into the Parliament. That's the entrance there. We are in the yard of the Parliament building. There's an east wing and a left and a right wing, an east wing. Oh, and I see the swing bridge is open. That's the entrance right there, where the parliamentarians go, and this is the chamber here, the Senate. And if you look just across, if we stop, you can see the swing bridge doing its thing. All right. We were very fortunate that this gate was open at this moment. And we just leave. Once again, this man is still asleep. We passed there just now. He was sleeping. So once again, police headquarters, car park of the Commissioner of Police. And yes, this is Robuck Street again. By now you've seen this so many times, you probably know how to traverse Bridgetown yourself. Tourists are coming down the wrong way. Here's a vendor. She's probably finished her day's work, making her way home. We make our way to this junction that I keep mentioning. So the right turn here again is to Marhill Street, and we're gonna go left. So this is where we were before, and we are in the wrong lane because we wanted to go over the bridge. Independence Square. So we will come full circle to take you around to the main bridge and then end part 1 of this tour of Bridgetown. This is the Golden Square Freedom Park ahead of us on the left. It used to be the location for the old National Housing or the old NIS building, and it's now a Freedom Park. This is the old Empire building that burned many years ago. This is Probin Street, where the Barbados fire station used to be, and right ahead of us is where the Hyatt is supposed to be built. So we're going to end this tour right here by the very famous bridge in the city of Bridgetown. This road is all closed off because major construction is about to take place. But this is the famous bridge. I will give you a nice image of it. So this ends today's video, part 1 of our tour of the city of Bridgetown. And please remember to like the video, and we're always happy for your comments. We can't drive across this bridge because it's closed, and it's no longer for vehicular traffic, just pedestrian. So thank you for your time with us, and you can follow us on part 2 of this video, which will begin from this location.